Have you ever felt like she misses you, but just won't admit it? Maybe she's not saying the words, "I miss you," but her actions, her little signals, they're starting to speak louder than her silence. Today, I'm going to break down the signs she says, "I miss you," without actually saying it. And more importantly, I'll show you how a Stoic man handles these moments without getting emotionally yanked around. Let's get into it. Number 1, the silent echo of missing you. Sometimes she won't text, "I miss you." Instead, she likes your old photos. She replies to your stories with a random emoji. She suddenly checks in out of the blue. These little echoes? That's her way of breaking the silence without breaking her pride. It's subtle. It's like throwing a pebble into the water just to see if there's still movement. Is the connection still there? Can she still get a reaction from you? Her ego might not let her send a long emotional message, but tapping "like" on a picture from months ago, that feels safer. It gives her the illusion of control while still signaling, quietly, "I've been thinking about you." Marcus Aurelius said it best. Look beneath the surface. See the pattern, but don't let it control you. She's testing the waters, but that doesn't mean you have to dive in head first. Imagine you're walking through a quiet forest, and you suddenly hear an echo in the distance. It's faint, but it's there. Do you immediately run toward the sound, calling out and disturbing your own peace? Or do you pause, observe, and stay present in your own stillness? That's the mindset of a disciplined man. He doesn't chase every echo. He knows the difference between curiosity and commitment. Her indirect signals, the old likes, the late-night story views, the sudden comments, are echoes of missing you. But echoes are not conversations. They're reflections of past sounds, not new beginnings. As Epictetus would remind us, it's not what happens that disturbs us, but how we interpret it. So don't let your mind rush to conclusions. Observe, breathe, stay centered. If she truly wants to reconnect, you'll know it by her actions, not just her hints. Until then, remain calm, like the man who holds his ground, not because he's cold, but because he respects his own peace. Number 2, random texts that don't feel so random. You get a text like, "Hey, remember that song we used to listen to?" Or, "Do you still go to that coffee shop?" Brother, that's not really about the song. It's not about coffee. It's about you. These little messages, they're what I call emotional breadcrumbs. She's dropping subtle clues because sometimes saying, "I miss you" out loud feels too vulnerable, too exposed. So instead, she circles the subject. She brings up shared moments, inside jokes, or memories from simpler times. Not because she's bored, but because part of her still feels connected to you. Now here's where most guys get it wrong. They see that message and immediately light up. They grab the phone, their heart starts racing, and without thinking, they pour out attention. They think, "Oh, she must want me back. Let me show her I'm still available." But a Stoic man sees beyond that first layer. Like Marcus Aurelius said, "Look beneath the surface." Let not the impressions of the mind control you. She may be testing the waters, checking if the door is still open, but that doesn't mean you need to swing it wide. Think about this for a second. If you spent weeks rebuilding your peace of mind, focusing on your growth, working on your emotional clarity, do you really want to throw it all away just because of a nostalgic text? It's okay to respond, but respond like a man with purpose, not a man starving for validation. Maybe you say, "Yeah, I still go there sometimes," and leave it at that. Or maybe you choose not to reply at all if you're not in the mood. The key is to act from choice. not from emotional hunger. This is where emotional discipline comes into play. The world teaches men to chase, to fix, to rekindle the spark the moment a woman sends a small sign. But the Stoic path teaches us to pause, to observe, and to act from alignment, not desperation. So next time you get that random text that doesn't feel so random, remember, it's her way of saying, "I miss you," without actually saying it. But your job isn't to decode her feelings and drop everything. Your job is to stay rooted, like an oak tree, not swayed by every gust of emotional wind. And before we move to the next point, let's take a moment to reflect. If any of this is resonating with you, if you've ever been in that situation where a simple text stirred up a flood of memories, drop a comment below. Share your experience, or just type peace over impulse. It's a simple reminder that you're walking this path with discipline, not desperation. Number 3. The long pause before scene. She watches your stories. She lingers, quietly present but saying nothing. It's like she's circling you from a distance, close enough to feel your presence, but far enough to avoid risking her pride. She won't send a text saying, "I miss you." Instead, she lets her actions whisper it. A view here, a pause there. She taps your story, hesitates for a few seconds before swiping away, pretending it meant nothing. But you notice. Of course you do. That hesitation? It's not a glitch. It's not some random scroll-stopping moment. It's intentional. It's her way of staying tethered to you without fully stepping forward. She wants to feel connected without having to admit she's still thinking about you. Maybe you've seen it already. The single emoji reply to your story, the sudden like on an old post that's been collecting digital dust for weeks. Let's be real. It's not about the meme. It's not about the photo. It's about keeping the thread between you alive without having to say so out loud. She's leaving the door slightly ajar, but she's not ready to walk through it. Not yet. Pride has a way of tying people's hands. And this is where most men make the mistake. They chase after breadcrumbs. They reply too fast. They send a second message when she doesn't answer the first. But the man who follows the Stoic path, he doesn't fall into that trap. He breathes. He watches. Like Epictetus said, control your mind first. Then observe the world without judgment. That's the way forward. You don't spiral. You don't turn her silence into a drama in your head. You let it be what it is. Maybe she's not ready to be vulnerable. Maybe she's stuck between curiosity and fear. Either way, your mission is not to interpret every online gesture like it's some secret code you have to crack. Your mission is to stay grounded, to respond if you choose, but only from clarity, not from craving. Because silence has a language of its own. And when a woman stays in your digital orbit, quietly watching but never fully engaging, trust me, that's saying something. But here's the truth. Your role isn't to break that silence for her. It's to honor it. And more importantly, to protect your own. Number 4. She brings up inside jokes again. When she mentions an old joke only you two shared, or casually reminds you of a memory you thought was buried under time, that's not just small talk. That's not just her being friendly. That's emotional breadcrumbing. It's her way of reaching out without fully exposing her heart. Her way of softly saying, "I miss how it felt with you," without having to actually say those words. Maybe she texts you something like, "Remember that night we got lost on purpose just to find that midnight taco stand?" Or she drops a comment under your post. "This reminds me of the time you tried to teach me poker and failed miserably." These are not random mentions. These are soft echoes of a connection she still feels but isn't ready to fully admit. It's her indirect way of checking. Are we still us, at least a little? Now here's where most men fall into a trap. They think, oh, she brought up the good times again. That means she wants everything back. And suddenly, they start chasing. They try to revive the past, forcing the same jokes, the same energy, hoping to rewind the clock. But a Stoic man doesn't do that. He understands the difference between nostalgia and reality. He knows that the past is a place for lessons, not a place to live. Like Marcus Aurelius reminded us, do not let your reflection dwell on what is gone, or worry about what may come. Stay with what is. So, when she brings up those old moments, you can smile. You can even laugh, genuinely. But you don't have to lean into it with desperation. You don't have to open the floodgates just because she cracked the door. Sometimes, people bring up shared memories because they miss the feeling, not necessarily because they're ready for something real again. And as a man who values his peace and presence, you need to be able to tell the difference. Let her feel the warmth of the moment, but stay grounded. Respond from the present, not from longing. In the end, true strength is knowing when to appreciate the echo of what was, while still standing firm in what is. Number 5, her mood shifts when she sees you move on. Ever notice how she suddenly reappears when you're doing well? When you're back in the gym, locked into your purpose, maybe even meeting new people. Suddenly she's more active, more playful, more present. It's like she's orbiting closer again. That's not coincidence. That's emotional gravity. When you detach, when you let go and start focusing fully on your life, something shifts in her. She feels it, not just in her mind, but in her emotions, too. A part of her starts wondering, wait, is he really moving on without me? And that thought creates discomfort. It stirs the feeling of missing you, but pride won't let her come out and say it directly. So instead, it shows up sideways, through sudden mood shifts, playful comments, or unexpected check-ins. Maybe she starts replying to your stories again, sending a "ha-ha" to something you posted. Or she compliments your progress in the gym after weeks of silence. "Wow, you've really been consistent, huh?" she says. But what she really means is, "I see you, and I miss being part of your world." But here's where most men slip. They take that bait. They stop. They turn back. They get distracted from their own journey because someone from the past flashes a little warmth. That's the trap. A Stoic man, though, responds differently. He remembers what Seneca taught. A man content with his own life attracts all things. You don't chase the echo of the past. You keep moving forward, not out of spite, not to play games, but because your life is your mission. Let her notice you. Let her feel the emotional shift. Let her experience the contrast between the man who once waited and the man who now leads himself. But don't lose your pace. Don't hand over the steering wheel of your life just because someone looked back. Growth has a silent power. It makes people who left start to question their decisions. But you? You stay grounded. You accept the moment for what it is. She's saying, "I miss you," without saying it. But your role isn't to interpret her signals. Your role is to protect your peace, maintain your path, and continue becoming the man you're meant to be. Take a moment to reflect. Have you felt that emotional pull when someone returns just as you begin to rise? It's not by accident. It's the silent effect of growth. If this hits home, drop a comment or simply type, "I choose my path." Let's keep going. Number 6. She tests the waters with playful teasing. Maybe she starts teasing you again, a little sarcasm, a playful jab about how you never text first, Or a comment like, "Oh, look at you now, acting like you've got it all figured out." It might sound casual, but trust me, that's not just banter. That's emotional checking in. It's her way of saying, "I wonder if I still have access to you," without having to openly admit, "I miss you." See, when someone truly doesn't care, they don't tease you. They don't circle back into your life. Indifference is silent, but teasing is personal. It means she's still emotionally engaged, even if her pride won't let her say it out loud. That's why she tests the waters with humor. It's safer than saying, "I've been thinking about you." Maybe she texts you out of nowhere. "Bet you still can't cook to save your life." Or she leaves a comment under your post like, "Oh, so you're a philosopher now?" It's playful on the surface, but underneath, it's layered with curiosity. She wants to know, are you still the same? Are you still open to me? Or have you really closed that door? And here's the trap most guys fall into. They take the bait too fast. They think, "Oh, she's flirting again. That must mean she wants me back." So they push forward too eagerly, trying to reignite something that maybe, just maybe, needs more time to breathe. A man who understands Stoicism handles this differently. He laughs, yes, but not in desperation. He plays along, but stays calm inside. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "Be tolerant with others, but strict with yourself." That means you can welcome her teasing with warmth, but you stay disciplined about your own emotional balance. You don't let the moment pull you back into old patterns. You don't chase validation just because she offered a breadcrumb of attention. You respond from your center, not from impulse. Think of it like this. When she teases you, she's not just testing you. She's testing herself. She's asking, "Can I still feel close to him without risking too much?" She's flirting with the edge of vulnerability, but trying not to fall all the way in. So what do? You keep steady. You enjoy the moment, but you don't shift your focus. You keep living your life, staying on your path, letting your growth speak louder than your words. That's how a Stoic man handles emotional tests like this. With humor? Yes. With softness? Absolutely. But always with clarity and calm. You laugh, but you never lose your balance. Number 7, sudden curiosity about your life. She starts asking about your day, your gym routine, your weekend plans, your new hobbies. It's not really about the facts, it's about the feelings behind the facts. This is one of the clearest ways a woman says, "I miss you," without actually spelling it out. She's trying to figure out where she fits in your world now. She's wondering if there's still space for her, or if you've already moved forward without her. Maybe she sends you a text like, "Still hitting the gym at 6 a.m.?" Or, "Did you finally take that trip you were planning?" On the surface, it sounds casual, friendly, but underneath, it's about emotional placement. She's mapping out the current version of you. She's checking to see if the door is still cracked open or if it's already closed. Now here's where most guys fall into the trap. They treat this curiosity like an invitation to pour out every detail. They rush to tell her everything, hoping to rekindle the bond instantly. But a Stoic man understands that curiosity is natural, and so is distance. Like Marcus Aurelius said, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water." You don't need to rush in. You don't need to over-explain or prove you're doing well. You simply share what feels right, without losing your center. You lead your life with purpose, with or without her interest. If she's truly meant to be part of your journey again, she'll respect the man who stays grounded in his own path. not the man who bends his world to keep her comfortable. So, when she starts showing sudden curiosity about your life, recognize it for what it is, a soft echo of, "I miss you." But respond from strength, not from need. That's how you protect your peace, and let the right things unfold naturally. Number 8, she mentions what-if scenarios. Maybe she says, "What if we gave it another try someday?" Or, "Imagine if things had gone differently." Brother, these aren't just harmless fantasies. They're soft admissions of missing you. It's her way of opening a door without fully stepping through it. She's testing the waters, hoping you'll say, "Yeah, let's go back." But she's also protecting herself from rejection by keeping it hypothetical. This is what women sometimes do when they miss you, but can't bring themselves to say it directly. They mask it with playful curiosity. It sounds casual, but underneath, there's emotion, regret, nostalgia, maybe even longing for the version of you she once had access to, but now watches from a distance. But here's where a man of discipline separates himself from the average guy. Most men would jump in immediately. "Yeah, let's do it. Let's try again." Because they're desperate to fill the emotional gap. They mistake the what-if for a real plan, when in truth, it's often just a way for her to ease her own uncertainty. A Stoic man doesn't get pulled by every emotional current. Like Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, some things are not." And brother, your standards, your peace of mind, and the direction of your life, that's up to you. Her feelings, her fantasies, that's not your responsibility to manage. So when she brings up these what-if scenarios, pause, smile, acknowledge the moment, but stay grounded. Maybe you say something like, "Maybe, but life moves forward, doesn't it?" Or, "Funny how life works out." Keep your power. Keep your center. Remember this, she's allowed to wonder about the past. But you? You're living in the present, moving toward a future that aligns with your values. If she truly wants to reconnect, let her make it clear, not just in words, but in consistent actions. Until then, you keep walking your path, brother. That's how a Stoic leads, with clarity, not confusion. That's something to sit with, isn't it? These what-if moments are tricky. They pull on your heart, but they also test your discipline. So before we move on, take a second to reflect. Have you ever found yourself caught in one of these conversations? Did you respond from strength, or did you get swept up in the emotion of the moment? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Share your experience, or simply type clarity over confusion. That'll tell me you're locked in and ready for the next lesson. Let's keep going. Number 9. Her energy lingers, even in silence. Sometimes she doesn't say anything, but you feel her in the room, in your thoughts, in your dreams. It's like her presence echoes through the quiet parts of your day, when you're brushing your teeth, driving alone, or staring at the ceiling late at night. You wonder, is she thinking of me too? Does she miss me the way I miss her? Brother, this is one of the deepest forms of silent communication. When a connection was real, there's an invisible thread that doesn't snap just because words stop flowing. Maybe she hasn't sent a text. Maybe she hasn't called. But her energy shows up in subtle ways. A song you both loved suddenly plays when you're out, or you notice she's quietly checked your stories, but says nothing. That's her saying, "I miss you," without ever moving her lips. Here's where most men crack. They pick up the phone, they type a message, not because they're making a clear decision, but because they're trying to silence the discomfort. They reach out just to get relief from the tension in their chest. But that's not strength. That's reaction. That's letting your emotions lead you instead of you leading them. A Stoic man handles this differently. He feels the pull, but he doesn't chase it. He sits with the uneasiness, breathes through it, and understands. This is part of the process. Marcus Aurelius said it perfectly. The obstacle is the way. That longing you feel, that missing her, that's not something to run from. It's something to move through. It teaches you patience. It teaches you mastery over yourself. Imagine you're in the gym, lifting heavy. Your muscles tremble. Your mind screams for you to stop. But if you quit the moment it gets uncomfortable, you never get stronger. Emotional discipline works the same way. When her silence lingers, and you feel that ghost of her energy pulling at you, don't treat it like a signal to act. Treat it like a signal to grow. This is where you become the man who doesn't need external validation to stay centered. You learn to stand in stillness, no longer controlled by who reaches out or who stays silent. And trust me, she feels that shift. Women can sense when a man moves from emotional dependency to quiet strength. That's when you truly start to lead the dynamic, not by force, but by calm presence. So the next time you feel her in the silence, don't panic. Don't send a text just to make the tension go away. Sit with it. Breathe. Remember, some things are meant to be felt, not fixed. Number 10. She tries to rekindle without labels. She starts sending you memes again, the kind only you two would laugh at. She asks for your advice out of the blue, like she used to when things were close. Maybe she checks in late at night with a simple, "Hey, how've you been?" It might seem casual on the surface, but brother, look deeper. This is her way of rebuilding the bridge without admitting she tore it down in the first place. It's a silent, "I miss you," dressed up as small talk. A quiet invitation to reconnect without committing to the full truth of her feelings. And here's where most men fall into the trap. They confuse attention with intention. They think, well, she's talking to me again. That must mean she wants me back. But a Stoic man knows better. Like Marcus Aurelius said, if it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. So you have to ask yourself, is this right for me? Is this connection real? Or is it just emotional convenience on her part? Maybe she's lonely tonight. Maybe she's testing the waters because life feels quieter without you. Or maybe she misses the safety of your energy, but isn't ready to offer the same back. And that's okay. You're not here to force clarity out of confusion. You're here to respond, not react. If you choose to engage, do it from a place of calm, not craving. Respond because it aligns with your standards, not because your ego wants validation. If you're cool with casual conversation, fine. But if you're seeking something deeper, don't get swept into her rhythm. Set the tone. Let her come to your world, not the other way around. This is what Stoic strength looks like in modern relationships. Stillness over desperation. Clarity over chaos. So take a breath, brother. The fact that she's reaching out is a sign of emotional gravity. You've left an imprint. But remember, you decide whether that imprint leads to growth or just another cycle. And that brings us full circle, brother. If you've been seeing the signals, those quiet nudges, the random texts, the subtle likes and throwback memories, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. She may never come out and say, "I miss you," but her actions whisper it between the lines. And your job, as a man grounded in purpose and calm, isn't to chase those whispers. It's to hear them, and still choose your own direction. Throughout this video, we've unpacked the silent ways women say they miss you without ever uttering the words. But more importantly, we've talked about how a Stoic man handles each moment with stillness, clarity, and strength. You don't get pulled by emotional gravity. You don't get yanked around by nostalgia. You move with purpose. You choose peace. So here's my question to you. Which of these signs have you seen in your own experience? And how did you respond? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your story. Or just type, "I protect my peace," if you're ready to lead from strength, not impulse. If this video gave you value, helped you see the signs more clearly, or reminded you to stay grounded in who you are, hit that like button. It helps more brothers find this message. Subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want to keep learning how to lead with purpose and presence, watch the videos on screen now. I'll see you in the next one. Stay calm, stay centered, stay legendary.